Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Get the Shot, brought to you by Tamron Australia. My name is Joe Orchard and I am your host. We have a very, very special guest today, Colin Rosewarne, Tamron Ambassador. Every type of photography niche is tried and done, motorsports, travel, wildlife. He's absolutely lovely and I can't wait to have this conversation. Colin, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
No worries. I think you're most popular for your motorsport photography. Was your first love motorsports and motorcycles or photography?
My first love was motorcycles. I started off racing, but I kept on falling off.
Really?
I was lousy, but I didn't want to get away from the sport. So the best place that I could keep in the sport, but not hurt myself like what I was doing, was taking photos. It's the best seat in the house.
Really?
Yeah, the smell, the noise, the vibration, and being an old racer that's fallen off a lot, I can usually pick when somebody's going to go and do the same thing, and that's how I get a lot of my good photos.
So your best photos are when people are about to do something?
Usually it's the lead up to an accident. This is my nearly, in November it'll be my 50th year.
Wow.
And you get a bit of, not PTSD, but as soon as I see an accident or a bad accident, I go home. I won't photograph anymore. I don't need it.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, it happens. It's an occupational hazard.
Yeah.
And when you can read the play, you can pretty much predict if there's going to be something happen, and you always get the shot. Whereas it's like most photography, you've got to be in the right place at the right time. And I more or less think now it's being in the right place at the wrong time.
Okay. Right place, right time makes a lot of sense for you, because is it true that you just shoot on JPEG and don't really edit that much? Yeah,
handheld JPEG. I've always had an issue with my horizons, so I use Lightroom just to straighten up the horizon, and that's it. Just walk out, have a look at the light, have a read, think about what settings I need, that'll do, and off we go.
Is there a reason you don't edit your photos any further?
Because I'm not technologically minded. When I learnt computers, they were massive, great things as big as this room with binary cards. I was never ever in that computer generation. I was either working or doing things the hard way, and it's the way I work. I've never had a lesson. I just learned everything the hard way. Just learnt photo by photo.
Is it dangerous shooting motorsports from the points that you shoot at?
No, it's obviously there's a degree of danger. The what if something happens, just bizarre out of the copybook. But 99.9% of the time, if you can figure out if something is going to happen, obviously you don't go and stand in the path of where it's going to come to you. You're better off just altering your angle or using a longer lens or whatever. Shoot on the inside of corners, not the outside of corners, unless there's something big or something you can hide behind.
Okay.
I nearly got cleaned up by a jet boat, about 20 years ago, that went up through the crowd. And that was a little bit alarming because he went up the side of a hill.
So was this a boat race in like a small canal?
Yeah, in the channels, yeah. He was probably doing 130, 140 kilometres an hour, and when the candle goes out with a jet, they've got no steering, no nothing. They just keep on going straight.
My goodness.
Yeah, so...
so it needs to be loud and quick, and that's your niche.
Oh yeah, fast and loud. I shoot plane racing. I love aviation as well.
How do you shoot planes? Because that's, long lens, they're in 3D space, so you have to track a bit more.
Yeah.
What are the challenges there?
Well, I much prefer to go and shoot propellered planes. And as with my motorsport, I don't like to see spokes or anything that just looks like it's a stationary photo. I always have the propeller blurred or whatever, and I'm trying to give it some sense of movement and for the photo tell a story. But with aviation photography, you just got to go and figure out where they go. And after a little while, whenever I take photos anywhere, I'll go and sit and I'll watch for maybe, if it's a multiple lap race, obviously, I'll just go and spend the first 1 or 2 laps just watching and figure out what's going on, and then I can pick like you get a little star burst or just the little things, and it gets to a point where you get really, really fussy. Like you shoot MotoGP and World Superbikes and things like that, and you're shooting motorbikes are doing 240, 250 kilometres an hour plus, and I'm always looking at the radiators trying to see the wings on bugs and things like that. You just get to a point where I never ever compare myself to anybody else. I just compare myself to me, and I always just say, okay, I can do a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And I think that's the key to enjoying your photography. You never ever compare yourself to anybody, because all it creates is misery, really.
That's really, really good advice.
Yeah.
In your photography now, are you looking for something different to what you were looking at 10 years ago or 20 years ago?
Or 30 or 40.
I didn't want to say that.
Well, it's the old story. You got the runs on the board. I'm always looking for something that I haven't photographed before. Last year up on the river, there were dashhound races. I thought, oh, beauty, I'll ever go of those. I haven't shot dashhound racing before, and if I see something that is just new and once again movement and difficult, I like shooting things that are difficult to shoot, and dashhounds are difficult to shoot when they're moving. Because
what makes them particularly difficult?
Or their height. And I'm 193 centimetres, so I have to lay on my stomach pretty much to go and get them. And I'm 70 this year, and the old body doesn't like crawling around on the ground too much. But I like doing off-season in Victoria in motorsport. It's too cold for anything, and through a few health issues, I can't afford to get sick anymore. So I'll go and shoot macro on windy days, just to go and keep my hand in, and to a point it's still panning when you've got something floating around in the breeze, and birds and wildlife, flying birds, it helps keep it all in.
Yeah, amazing.
Whatever's going, if there's something new, I'll do it.
Fantastic. So you just have to take photos, no matter what it is. You're restless. You're ready to get out there and take them. Yeah,
I retired in January last year, and I got bored really quickly. Actually, I tried to retire a few years before that, and I couldn't do it. I went back to work because I was annoying myself. But I dropped back to 4 days a week, 3 days a week, 2 days, and then I retired, and I just look for things to do now. So I've got a hyperactive kelpie at home, and on a day when there's nothing on, I'll get her out chasing a tennis ball and do things with it, just to go and shoot as slow as I can, and just to test myself and keep my hand in.
What did you do in your professional career?
I taught occupational health and safety. I taught security and risk management, and before that I worked in immigration and in maximum security prison settings.
Wow, quite full-on stuff.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. You bring up kids, you've got to put them through school, you've got to feed them, so you've got to put food on the table. So,
did you ever bring any of your photography into that professional work?
Later in the prison stages, the prison got me to come in and take some photos of building renovations they were doing that they had to document. But cameras were a total no-no in prisons.
I was going to ask,
In immigration detention, I worked all across the top end of Australia and worked through Cyclone Oswald. Was the most amazing thing, because I was outdoors in Cyclone Oswald with the magnificent just machine gun lightning, and it was so much heavy rain that it was washing the terns out of the sky, and they couldn't fly anymore. They were so waterlogged, and we went around and picked up about 130 of them and dried them off and did what we could and released them in the morning. But it was quite funny. We had, I think it was 750 millimetres of rain in 24 hours, and it was all sand up in Weipa. And you'd be going to pick up the birds, and here'd be an eastern taipan swimming across the top of the water, looking for a tree to climb, and I didn't want to be the tree, so I used to learn how to tread water really quickly and get out of there. Long legs were a big bonus.
Wow, amazing. You've done quite a lot of travel in your time. We actually have one of your travel books on the shelf here. Are there any similarities between travel photography and motorsport, or does it stretch a different muscle? Or
I think it's a different muscle.
Yeah.
After I go on holidays, I travel quite widely. When I worked in immigration, I got to go all over the world, and I got to see places that I would go back, and I got to see places that I wouldn't go back to. And I always promised myself when I retired I'd go back, so I've been ticking them all off.
Fantastic.
And after a month or so of shooting static photos, I find it's difficult to get back into motion again, and vice versa. I went to South Africa and did 28 safaris over there, and it was really good testing myself on the cheetahs and the wild dogs and just the moving animals through the bush.
Well, 27 wasn't enough, so you had to go a 28th time, I'm guessing.
That's it, yeah. It was good, and it taught me a lot, and I got to see these animals in the wild, and I've always loved animals, and seeing them in their wild, in their own habitat, was just amazing.
You mentioned cheetahs being a highlight. Were there any others that come to mind as quite special?
I had about an hour and a half sitting in the back of an open Land Rover from maybe 2 metres away from a pod of sleeping lions that were just looking up and looking straight at me, and boom, back to sleep.
It's like looking in a mirror.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Well, and these were old working lions. These weren't zoo preened, pristine lions. These were broken teeth, and they'd had hard lives, and they were just, because they're nocturnal, they eat all night and they sleep all day, so we just sat there and taking photos, and I've got photos of just fangs, full frame of a fang, and you'll be driving along the tracks in these wildlife conservation parks, and you can nearly put your hand out and pat them when they're walking past you. They don't care about you.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's so exciting.
Yeah, bull elephants scratching their bum on pretty much on your shoulder. Massive, great big 4 or 5 ton elephants, and the poor old Land Rover because they've got such poor eyesight, you can't move. If you scare them, you're in trouble. So,
yeah, right. You've entered a lot of competitions and done quite a few galleries. Are there any competitions or any galleries that you've done that are highlights in your career? Not
really. I only enter competitions just to, one, if I'm asked to do it, or two, I want to contribute in some way. Because I don't Photoshop and I don't edit photos, it really annoys me. The judges, the criticism is, oh, you could have fixed this in post, or you could have done this in post. Whereas you just take the photo properly in the first place, like, oh yeah, this is obviously a Photoshop photo when it's not, and it just annoys me.
There's no winning.
No, so I only do it because, one, I want to contribute, or two, I'm asked to do it.
So who do you take photos for outside of yourself?
I used to supply magazines and things like that, and I've got up until recently, my own set of customers who'll ring me up and say, okay, I want A, B, C, D photo with this characteristic. Over the last 15, 20 years, I've taught them that instead of saying nothing and then looking at all the photos later on and getting the best of what is there. You tell me what you want first, and then I'll go and take the photo of you doing what you want with that background, with this sun here, and they're getting the photo instead of a photo.
Yeah.
And I don't go out chasing work anymore. I just do it mainly to satisfy me, and people will chase me. They'll ring me up if they know I'm going somewhere. Oh, can you do this? Can you do that? Oh yeah, all right, no problems.
How much photography are you doing at the moment?
At the moment, I'm doing very, very little. I'm just doing a bit of wildlife stuff. It's the off season now in Victoria. I have got been fighting bowel cancer since it's my retirement present. I got it 2 months after I retired, and I don't have the energy or the strength to go and carry big stuff around anymore, or to spend 8-10 hours a day on my feet walking around. And I've been told to behave myself as well, because you only really get one shot to beat it. So not too much at all, but I'm preparing myself to go and do a bit more in probably September, October, and see how I go. Just test myself out.
Yeah, am I allowed to ask you
Yeah.
a question? How has your battle been so far?
The battle's been all right. I had all sorts of hospital-borne infections that I couldn't fight, like urinary tract infection for 4 months and kidney stones and things like that, which was really annoying. But probably the biggest pest is I've got a stoma on my stomach, and when I go to pan, now the strap on the camera gets caught on the stoma, and that hurts, and I have to go and wrap the strap around my hand, and then I have to learn how to pan again. So that was just a new learning experience, which it was a negative, but turned it into a positive as something I needed to learn. And probably slowing down a little bit has helped the quality of my photos.
Really?
Yeah,
How
I think
so?
I think the quality is better, and I'm being more selective. I've always been selective, but being even more selective, and coming out of the old film school, I've always been a bit tight when taking photos. I've been with photographers who'll say, oh, I've taken 15,000 photos today. I say, what?
So how many would you take?
Maybe 600-700 a day. That's on a big day, and remember, in motorsport there's a race within a race within a race, and they're end to end to end, and I try and get everybody that competes, not just the leaders or whatever. I try and get even the ones in the rear of the field, because they like a photo as well, and really they're the ones that miss out. So I try and capture everybody.
Are there any bucket list photos or anything like that? You talked earlier about, always trying to do something new. Is there anything on your mind that you're trying to get?
Always something new. I'm open to suggestions.
Yeah.
I would, before I got sick, I planned to go to South America and shoot up and down the Amazon and then back down the bottom to Chile. But that didn't happen. I don't know whether I'll be able to do that or not now. I'll have to get a lot stronger to do that, because South America has got mountains, not little piddly hills like we've got here, and I have this bad habit of overdoing it, and I have to teach myself to slow down and don't do it. If you think it's going to hurt, it is going to hurt, so just don't do it. It's one of the negatives of growing old. Your mind says you can do it, but your body's saying, "Oh, don't be stupid." Sort of, you go get in the middle somewhere, and you're happy.
Are there any famous, or well, rather infamous injuries from photography?
I've been lucky. I've been bitten 3 times by snakes. I stood on a green snake in Thailand photographing in my sports thongs, and it just wrapped itself around my foot and just kept on biting my foot all the time until I could kick it off. Not really. Like a lot of the the briefings you'll get at some of the tracks is, oh yeah, we saw a tiger snake up there last week, just be careful up there. So it's, oh yeah, no worries.
When
so that means I get to spot to myself. So that's about it really.
When I was 15, I was in Ngambie on a school camp, and we were just having lunch by the side of a river, and I saw a snake just crawling up, and we had to tell the rest of the camp group if you saw a snake, obviously. But I just remember like time slowing down for a moment. I was just really appreciating it just slithering up, and I was just like, wow, this is quite beautiful. And then it clicked to me, oh, snake, I should probably say something.
Yeah.
And then everyone caught up and
they're one of my favourite animals to photograph as well. I spent quite a bit of time at Singapore Zoo photographing their snakes in there. And,
oh, okay.
Yeah, and snakes and lizards.
Have you ever done crocodiles and alligators?
Yeah, I'm off to Darwin at the end of this month actually.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're going up to Dundee and going blue water fishing there. See what I can get there. I haven't photographed any decent jumping barramundi and things like that. And, probably look for a couple of big crocodiliacs on the way back.
Fantastic.
You know, I did the dive in the glass box thing with the crocodiles in Darwin years ago, but he didn't even bat an eyelid. He was not interested, and I had told the guy he had a little crane in his jugular like a tea bag, trying to stir this crocodile up, but he wasn't interested. So
my parents think I'm insane, but I one day want to do like a shark tank.
Yeah, that's on the list. I was when I went to South Africa to do those safaris, I had it on my list to go and do the shark diving, but I didn't know that back then, and the orcas have pretty much destroyed that industry now, but back then there was a month when you couldn't go diving. There must have been their annual leave or something, I don't know. So lucky Phil, it's the month I picked was the month that you couldn't go.
So if something doesn't go your way when you're looking to shoot something, how do you work through that?
Whatever, you got to do the best with what you got. You know, if the light's lousy or you got backlighting and all that sort of stuff, you use it to your advantage. A lot of people won't shoot straight into light, but I love shooting straight into the light because especially with dirt racing, you get all of the dirt and you look for just the best highlights in the dirt behind, and then find your photo and put your photo in front of it, and you got the best of both worlds. Because I won't go and take a photo of a sunset or backlighting and then superimpose a photo in front of it. I'm greedy. I want to get the whole lot in one shot.
Yeah, I'm similar. I quite like backlit stuff. I come from a film and video sort of background, and I always liked in Tarantino movies how characters would smoke cigarettes and always blow it out before saying dialogue, but the smoke would be backlit and just be that really cool crispy blue color as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Like rain, I love shooting in the rain.
Really?
You get really, really good results in the rain.
That's true, yeah.
You've got all of the modern equipment, it's supposed to be water resistant.
Or splash proof or whatever phrase they use.
Last time I went to Singapore, I ended up steaming 2 cameras because the eyepiece in a Nikon camera wasn't water resistant, and because it was 40 degrees and about 100% humidity, the sweat off my eye got into the viewfinder and it just steamed them both like 2 dim sims.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it was 2 cameras down the toilet, they couldn't fix them. So.
How long have you been a Tamron Ambassador with us?
10 years maybe, 8, 9, 10, I can't remember.
Fantastic.
Forever, long time.
You've had a long relationship with us, and we're quite grateful for everything you've done with us and all the collaborations. What's it been like shooting with Tamron over that time?
I had all of the original. I've always shot Nikon. I started off with Olympus when I was a kid, but I went into Nikon pretty quickly. And I've had most of the Nikon lenses, and they're good, but they're expensive. And The Tamron lenses I'm finding are a hell of a lot lighter, they're easy to handle, they're a fraction of the price, and they give me exceptional results.
That's the sales pitch right there.
Well, I wouldn't use them if they weren't any good, because at the end of the day it takes you a lifetime to build a reputation and 5 minutes to lose it. And pumping out rubbish, substandard photos is the best way to go and get yourself written off in a lot of people. And a lot of my customers, because I've had them so long, they know what a good photo is now. They know what to expect, and they don't take rubbish either.
Yeah, fair enough.
And those books that you talk about, they're 180, 240 pages, all depends on what it is, and you can really pick the errors. So you've got to be good with what you're doing, and all of the Tamron gear, I'm really loving it. It's they got a great range with what I do, and I'll take anything from, as I said, macro.
What's in your kit? What are your go-to lenses?
At the moment, I've got the 35-100, 35-150. I've got a Z9 mirrorless and a D6 and a D850 DSLR. So I'm only going up the size level. I've got a 24-70, 70-200, 200-400, 150-500, 150-600. I think that's about it.
Wow, just a couple.
Yeah, yeah, but I really only use the 150-500, and what I'm finding is I'm using the 150-600 F-mount with the adapter on my Z9 mirrorless, and it's giving me outstanding results.
Okay.
And it's my second 150-600. The first one I just wore it out. It was just, it lasted probably 6-7 years, just total flogging. And the shorter lenses and the 150-500 have been all over the world with me. They've got more frequent flyer points than a politician, those ones.
I think we've got over there, you may be able to see it. You know what? I'll just grab it.
150-600, is it, or a 500?
It could be, but this is an old.
No, it's the 500.
This is the 500. You could tell that instantly,
Yeah.
but this is is 600.
Yeah, you got the.
So this is the exact lens that you were
Yep.
talking about. Wow, it's impressively light.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. And people
I had the 600 2.8, the 600 4s, prime lenses, and they're just ridiculously long and ridiculously heavy. Like you're walking around. I had to use a monopod with them because you're carrying them around for 6-8 hours a day. You've got to use a monopod and stick the lens on your shoulder because you just physically can't carry them around all day. And I'll carry that around all day, not a problem.
Fantastic. Well, as I said earlier, and I'll sing your praises forever. Thank you so much for everything you've done to help boost up the brand and pump our tires, and here's to another 50 years of shooting photography with you. Yeah.
Another 50, that'll maybe 120, I don't think so. Thank you.
We like to wrap up the podcast by the previous guest leaves a question for you, and you know, they don't really know who you are and you don't know who they are. And the question for you today is, what is the jankiest setup or rig you have ever used, and what did it involve?
Chinkiest. What's chinkiest?
Well, jank, Jank, and it's more like a bit random where you've had to use a bit of duct tape, or it's a bit, you know, scrappy, or...
Early days, nearly everything.
Yeah?
I was early days, I was very much on a budget, and I just did the best with what I could get. If it meant borrowing something, and if it was broken or whatever, I had when I shoot motorsport, to shoot speedway, I had a I've still got it actually, a 300 2.8 Nikon lens, and I got a rock right in the middle of it. Right in the very middle of it, there's a big starburst in the middle of it, and occasionally I'll get it out if I'm shooting into the sun, and it'll create this artificial starburst. It's it's too expensive to throw away. And,
Yeah, right.
So just use it, use it to your advantage, but it's right in the middle of the glass.
Did you ever do much, I guess, I'm going to use the term artsy photography like that, where there was stuff like that? Or?
No, I wouldn't know how to spell art. I failed it at school.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Well,
I got A+ for sport, but failed art. So
yeah. Did you ever play much sports?
yeah, I played cricket, football, and volleyball.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
What were you best at?
Probably volleyball.
All right.
Yeah, I was a bit aggressive, but I dislocated a knee, and that was the end of that. So
All right.
Yeah.
Good times. Well, Colin, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure actually getting to chat to you. We've always seen each other at events, but never really talked. And it's a shame it's taken this long, but here we are. Thank
Not
you
a
so much
problem.
for coming on the show.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. If you want to find out what Colin has for next week's guest, tune in to find out. Thank you, everyone. Take care.